Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I got a little bit of a story to tell you. The 91 Vert, which is done, goes in for her citizenship appointment, or at least that's what I'm calling it. I went in for inspection, okay? So car passed with flying colors, so we're good to go there. Now, when I picked the car up, the fella that did it for me, he obviously road tested the car and he said, hey, you know, your car just died on me randomly. That happened to you before? I said no, but I haven't owned it very long either, nor have I driven it a whole bunch, right? So anyway, he goes, well, who knows, right? Maybe old fuel. And I had just filled the fuel tank up in it because I have no idea how old, like I had whatever, a third of a tank or something in there. So I thought fill it up, especially after I gave the tune up and the fresh oil or fresh fuel filter. Fill it up, mix it up with some new octane, and hope for the best. Anyway, he tells me that, never really thought much of it, went to go home with the car. I pull up outside the driveway and the kids are coming out, everybody's excited because the car's inspected and we can now go for a ride. Anyway, car dies on me. Oh, what the heck is this all about? And just to make matters worse, some rain starts to come down. I'm like, I just spent all this time polishing the car. Anyway, whatever, right? Minor. So yeah, there I sit and I'm turning the key and nothing. Even if it stumbles into wanting to start, it just falls on its face and dies. I got my foot to the floor, I'm trying to reset, like it just, anyway. So I let it sit for a minute, sat on the sidewalk there with it, and I'm going, what the heck, right? Do I gotta push this thing in the garage? Where am I going next? Anyway, get in the car, turn the key, starts. So I rush it in here, and right away I thought, well, let's get the OBD1 code checker on it and see what's going on, okay? So, run the codes. I got two codes. So I got a 67, which is actually, I had the car in gear. I don't know if you guys know much about these or how to run them or whatever, but anyway, you plug it in, turn the key, like key to accessory, engine on, or pardon me, key on, engine off, and you run your check. Anyway, this 67 can be because the car was in gear. Anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Anyway, and then there's a 10, which means your first codes are kind of your soft codes. Your second, after this 10, is your hard codes. I got a 96C, okay? So now, we cross-reference the manual. A 96C, fuel pump secondary circuit fault, high-speed fuel pump relay open, okay? So now this car is a 91, fuel pump relay is under the seat. Now, I'm just gonna try to walk you through my high-level diagnosis in my head of what I'm trying to figure out could be the issue, right? So, one could assume that it's the relay. But now, the thing that has me scratching my head over that is, well, why does the relay work when you start the engine cold and then it kicks off after? Now, relays, they don't fail all that often, but they do fail. It's not really subject to heat. This being a 91, the fuel pump relay is under the seat in the cab of the car. So, I don't know. Long story short, I got myself a new relay, okay? So I'm gonna be plugging that in. Not rocket science, unplug the old one, plug the new one in. But then I made a post on Instagram, I'm like, hey guys, you know, I've got this code 96. Anybody got any experience with it? I just wanted to try to get a real, the way I like to solve problems is I like to get as much information as I possibly can, okay? Get the widest swath possible, and then try to see what fits and what doesn't. So I've heard everything from TFI module, which TFI modules are weird. They can make your car do weird things, and Ford actually lost a lawsuit over the TFI module. So there is known issues with those. Could be the problem, but the fact that I'm getting this code maybe leads me to believe that it's more fuel related than TFI. So anyway, that's that. Some guys have had TFI modules and similar symptoms. So anyway, I think I'm gonna leave that as like a secondary or a third kind of fix. Had some other guys say to me, you know what, relays fail not very often. It's probably your fuel pump. I'm going, oh, you know, like I said to you, I filled the car up, so I got a full tank of fuel, thinking, here I am for a couple $100 in a fuel pump. Well, I happened to be going through my old parts bins the other day, and lo and behold, take you down to one of my many. I'm like, that looks like the fuel pump that I put in my car, in my green coupe. So, long story short, I'm a pack rat when it comes to these damn things. I have my stock, I think they're like a 95 gallon per hour or something like that. I got my stock fuel pump out of my coupe and it was working just fine. So I think I'm gonna drop the tank in the car. Yeah, I actually I borrowed my buddy's high-tech siphoner. And I think where I'm gonna go with this whole diagnosis is I'm gonna change the relay and I'm gonna change the pump. Realistically, I should just change the relay and go and drive it and see what happens, but I'm worried about doing that because if I get stranded out there somewhere, you know, car's now lowered, doesn't go on a tow truck or even a bed truck for that matter very well. So yeah, this is the predicament I'm in. Anyway, and I ran, when I got my my relay, went and got a new like fuel pump filter sock and, you know, clips and new fuel pump kind of nut or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, these Fox problems, right? So anyway, I don't know how much of this I'm not gonna treat this like a how-to, I don't think, guys, because there's gonna be a lot of moving parts, gonna be draining fuel, whatever. Maybe I'll do some sped up video throughout this as I'm working my way through and see if I can fix the problem. Being that this car's 30 years old, I did have it in the back of my head before any of this was even on my radar that I should probably drop the tank and drain it. I know it spent extended periods of time sitting, so I'm probably gonna find a bunch of junk in the bottom of that tank. So I guess that's one of the benefits. Get a fresh start there and know that the tank's cleaned out. But for any of you that have changed it or pulled the tank, you know what kind of a pain in the you know what it is. Oh, actually, hey, here's another one. So I don't even know where the heck I ended up with this, but it was in my parts bin. So good old LMR box. I must have maybe doing a late night order one night. Got the fuel filler pipe seal that goes up on the fender. Got a spare one of those. Forgot about that. Anyway, word of the wise, don't throw stuff out, okay? Especially when it comes to car parts, you never know what you're gonna need. Screws, bolt, like I keep all that stuff. Sometimes I curse myself for doing it, but you never know, it comes in handy. So yeah, I'm gonna get after tearing this car apart here, guys, and see if I can't get to the bottom of this problem, because I don't want to take my family out for ice cream and be that guy, especially with this thing all shined up and looking good, right? You imagine sitting out in front of the ice cream stand. Yeah, so we're gonna make sure this problem's licked before we go any further. And yeah, so if you like, tag along, and in the end, hopefully I can give you some good news that I got this thing solved. If not, maybe this will be a bit of a sequence of videos. The saga may continue, but keep your fingers crossed for me, guys. Okay guys, here's where we're at. Tank's out. Here's my brackets that hold the tank in. Hey, for any of you that are wondering how these brackets are held in, it's if you take a magnet and pull these pins out, you can pull these brackets right out. See a lot of Foxes running around with these things all beat up. and there's no excuse for those to be all beat up. You can pull them out and buff them up and sand them real easy. So check this out, these bloody, okay, so I'm familiar with what these are now. Everybody's commented in these mud daubers. These guys just wreaked havoc on this car. They were nesting everywhere. So anyway, send me somebody's address and I'll send you some mud dauber nests. They're all over the place. I think I'm getting to the bottom of them now. Oh, japers. Okay, anyway, here's where we're at, guys. Tank's out. Nice and clean underneath. Less that half a mud dauber nest. So yeah, we'll tidy that all up. We'll get this pump flipped over and this all buttoned back up. I'm gonna run these down to my shop and sandblast them. And while I'm at it, I think I'm actually gonna do the same with my filler neck. See, that's the clean side of it. Let's see if I can give you a view of it here. There she is. Look at that beaut. Just a total disaster. Feeding this poor old 91 vert straight premium rust. So I'm gonna get that dialed in too. But stand by, guys, we'll get this turned around. And sorry, like I say, this isn't a how-to. Probably best it's not, because yeah, that time lapse sort of makes it seem like I did that real quick. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's a pain, right, to get the tank out. You probably saw my wife in there a little bit. She's helping out, just guide this thing out. Bank on some time, having the right tools. I mean, a floor jack's not ideal, but it kind of gets the job done. Going back in is a little tricky. You got to line things up, but anyway, it works. So like I say, stand by, guys. We'll get this pump flipped around and get this back in the car. My God. Well, folks, check this beauty specimen out. This thing looks like it spent time on the floor of the ocean. This is crazy. What a disaster. So now, I'm gonna lean towards the fact that this tank does not have water in it, but it most definitely had humidity in it at one point in time. And I'm also going to forensically mention that I think that a lot of this has to do with probably not, well, storing your car and not filling the tank up, and or having a fuel stabilizer in there, right? You should always top your tank up before you park your car and put fuel stabilizer in the tank. Run the car, have it in the lines. Fuel stabilizer doesn't help you with any of this, but this thing probably sat with whatever, 1/8 of a tank or something for extended periods of time, and humidity accumulated in that tank and caused all this awful corrosion to take place. So with all that rust on that pump, I'm sure it was running hot, which could have something to do with my problem, if not all of it. Anyway, I'm gonna get after peeling this thing all apart and cleaning it up. Probably run back down to the shop and sandblast this. Quick little update here. So I got the beautifying done. I got the tank cover all painted. Somewhere over here I've got my tank straps. I sandblasted and painted those. There they are. I did them this gray. I did that on my coupe too. I think it looks a little better than the black. Breaks things up a little bit. But anyway, guys, yeah, we're gonna leave this where it sits for now and deal with this rust situation. I can't really show you in the tank, but it's not all that clean either, so I'm gonna have to do some hosing out of that to get all the junk out of the tank as well. But anyway, I'll get back with you here in a sec once I got this tidied up. All right, guys, we're back together and a little less rusty. So I guess where I'm going with all this is probably going to order a whole new fuel pump housing. For any of you that are watching this and wondering if this looked as bad as it is, what's the inside of that tank look like? Well, it ain't pretty. I've probably seen worse, but it ain't awesome either. So I don't have the luxury of putting having a new tank here right now, and I've actually got an appointment tomorrow for the car to get the AC recharged, which isn't much of an excuse, but I'm going back in with the old tank. So yeah, it's gonna have to do for now, and I'll place an order and have to drop this out at another time. But for the time being, I got my pump out of my coupe in there, so that was a free upgrade, if you will, and put a new hose on it, cleaned it all up, new dielectric grease in the connection, cleaned all the old 30-year-old stuff out of there, and a brand new fresh sock. So that guy's gonna have its work cut out for it. I should mention, I cleaned the tank out. You can see my dirt bike jerry can and stuff here. I probably threw about $60 worth of fuel through this thing and like rinsed it out and got it to run clean. So it's as good as it can get, I guess you could say. Kind of cheesy that I'm using this tank again, but you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I don't have a spare tank laying around. I even called some buddies to see if they had anything, but they don't. So yeah, new grease in here. I got a new nut for the fuel pump, and yeah, we'll just start hooking it all back up. Okay guys, so quick change of clothes. I was a little filthy after rolling around under the car, but I loaded it up with fuel, and guess we put a little fire in the hole and see if we got any leaks and or if it runs. So let's see what we got. Alright, moment of truth. We got fuel pump. It's a good sign. Maybe just prime it a couple times here. Here we go. Alrighty, we're running. Man, is that fuel pump way more quiet than that rust-covered disaster I had in there before. Oh, we look dry. Shoot, guys, I wish I had a video of this thing before, but this thing, well, I'll know more when I drive it too, because it was like all you could hear was fuel pump whine, and you guys saw what that thing looked like. I mean, that sock was plugged right up, that pump was covered in rust. It was a wreck. So yeah, here's the start of, hopefully not the start of a saga, but yeah, quick little fix, show you what I did to get rid of this code and hopefully solve my issue. So I'm gonna get her on the ground. I'm gonna take her for a drive, stay on high ground so I can get home if anything happens. But I will update you guys shortly as to how this all goes. So thanks for tagging along, guys, appreciate it. And till next time, take care, bye for now.